This week we started our discussion with the fact whether genes are extremely important, whether environmental conditions are much more important, or is it that gene and environment both plays their own respective roles, and we have somewhere a confluence of the effect of the two. Then we looked at one very celebrated construct, that is intelligence. Now, before I take you to the new construct, watch this video.
It's out, and the comeback kid has done it again.
You saw the achievement of the golden girl of Indian athletics, badminton. Now, imagine and try to decipher why did PV Sindhu play so well? Is it that the credit goes to her genetic makeup? Is it that she was brought up in a particular type of an environment? Is it that the genetic as well as the environmental conditions both had their respective roles to play? Is it that she had some exceptional intelligence which made her learn and then perform? Okay. Or is it that this required a very specific set of a skill which she could acquire over a period of time during her course of training, and this in turn made her perform exceptionally well in the field of sports. And this brings us to our new topic. Okay. We took the example of this excellent 21-year-old Indian badminton champion who has brought silver medal to our country in this Rio Olympics. But we are taking this example to understand that there could be a possibility that we all have certain specific thing within us which can be nurtured, which can be groomed through training, and this can in turn help us achieve far better, far ahead, far greater in our life. Okay. So, we would be talking about a construct called aptitude. Now, Freeman has defined that an aptitude is basically a combination of the characteristic indicative of an individual's capacity to acquire some specific knowledge skills, and of course, these specific knowledge skills will be acquired through training, or a set of organized responses such as the ability to speak a language, to become a musician, to do a mechanical work, and so forth. Now, imagine a situation you acquire proficiency in a particular language, you are exposed to another language, at certain stage in your life you decide to learn a third language, okay, and there are certain specific linguistic skills that are needed to develop competence in that very area, and you realize that few people do it nicely. Take example of a music class. A large number of students, they would attend the class, but then you realize that only one or two of them succeed to the level of becoming a celebrated musician. Okay. Similarly, take the world of sports, the example that we began with. Okay. Large number of children, they play badminton in their houses, some of them they go to the coaching centers, some of them go to state level, national level, and then finally you realize that there is somebody who finally excels in this very area. Now, aptitude is basically this combined characteristics, okay, which is actually an indicative of your capability to acquire certain specific skill. So, if you are trained, if you are given a conducive environment, your capacity will get a full-fledged royal road to move towards the goal that you are basically endowed to achieve in your life. Now, basically what aptitude does is that it helps you perform a specific task up to a certain level. We all can play badminton, okay, but we cannot play to the level to which you saw PV Sindhu playing, okay, or other sportsmen, or similarly you can play flute, you can play guitar, you can sing a song, but not as melodious as some of the established singers. You can play a music instrument, but not as well as some of the celebrated musicians. Okay. So, some people they achieve certain level in their career, okay, in terms of performing some specific task. Now, we come back to the old question that whether a particular aptitude can be attributed, no, that it is basically a product of heredity, or do we say that it is basically a product of the environment. So, what leads to a particular aptitude? Is it the heredity or the environment? And this question is extremely difficult to answer. Look at the second example. Rio Olympics, once again we visit there. This 23-year-old bronze medal winner in wrestling in 58 kilogram category, Sakshi Malik, she became the first woman from this country to win a medal in wrestling championship. Okay, I was looking at her history. I heard interview of her mother who said that in the family nobody is into wrestling. But then they go on to say that Sakshi's grandfather happened to be a wrestler. Now imagine one thing, one can very easily commit an error of saying that, see, in the family you have the history of somebody playing wrestling. Okay. Hence, you cannot overrule the importance of heredity here. Take the case of PV Sindhu. Okay. Now, you realize that fine, it was just the zeal of an individual player who made her achieve this very goal in her life, given the fact that she got one of the best coach in the country, Fulela Gopichand, okay, who himself was a celebrated player in his days. Now, if you take these two examples, both of them have been the winners of bronze and silver medals in respective sports, but one where you have the history of somebody playing in the family, and in the other case where you do not have this history. Therefore, aptitude basically is definitely a capacity to acquire a specific knowledge skill, okay, because both of them, even though you consider that there was a history in the family that somebody was into wrestling and there is also a history in the family that there was nobody into badminton, but still you know that this specific individual, okay, both of them respectively, they excel into their given domain, okay, because they acquired very specific skill, and this skill actually was used in the field of sports, okay, to overpower the other individual playing against these two players. Now, you can realize that you can develop competence with the more and more training. The more harder you work, okay, the more skillful you become. So, what will aptitude finally lead to? Aptitude basically is going to add to the competency in you to do certain kind of work. So, somebody would be exceptionally good at badminton, somebody would be exceptionally good at wrestling, but if you go for a role reversal, you realize that they utterly fail. If you ask Sakshi to play badminton and if you ask Sindhu to go into wrestling, it would be a horrific type of a thing. And if you ask me to either go for wrestling or badminton, I would utterly fail. Okay. So, basically what aptitude does, it provides you that competence so that you can excel in a given domain and you can do a specific kind of a work. And when you have outstanding aptitude, this is what people say that you are extremely talented. You become Sachin Tendulkar, you become Lata Mangeshkar, okay, because you have outstanding aptitude in a given area. This aptitude was nurtured, okay, even in the case of Sachin Tendulkar, okay, it was the elder brother who was instrumental taking him to a very good coach, okay, and then it is the coach who trains you, who polishes you. So, before you shine as a diamond, there is a whole degree of training, coaching that goes into it, which helps you acquire specific abilities, and these abilities you then use in your daily life, either in the field of sports or in any other domain in the real world situation, and then you excel. People, they salute you for your talent because of your outstanding talent. Now, we would take some terminologies here and try to draw the thin line that divides aptitude and the constructs that we are going to talk now. Now, if you look at the overall success in life of any individual, you realize that the person has an aptitude, he or she had that specific ability or the combination of the abilities which would definitely help him or her to achieve certain height in life. Then you realize that these aptitudes were innate in nature. The parents, the neighbors, they tell you that fine, right from the early childhood days we saw that no, this very girl was extremely good at music, this very girl was very good at singing. But then you have specific learned abilities, okay? Like say nobody knows how to become a good mechanic, but then you acquire this skill. This is a learned skill. There are extremely good mechanics. This is a learned skill. Similarly, once you learn a skill, once you acquire a skill and then you finally use it, you achieve certain threshold. You are able to solve problem to certain degree. This in turns give you a positive feed. So, your achievement, which is also an outcome of a learned process, in turn provides and keep providing you with a positive feed, and which in turn helps you polish your skill far better. Then if you have a combination where your aptitude and the skill and what you achieve, they all are put on the same trajectory, means you have an aptitude for a given thing, you get training into the same area, and then when you start achieving in that area, you realize that your achievement is disproportionately very high compared to others. Now, come to other situations. If one tells you that is it that the talent has to be given the credit for the outstanding performance, or is it that the training, the rigorous training that was given to this individual should actually get the credit for the outstanding performance? Again, it is extremely difficult. How do you establish that it was merely the talent or it was merely the hard training? Okay. Mostly people will say that it is a combination of both. Unless you have the talent, you cannot be polished, you cannot be trained, okay. And unless you undergo a rigorous training, your talent probably would go waste. So, we look at two interesting constructs which are closely associated and looks to be very closely moving together in life. One is the intelligence and the other is the aptitude. Intelligence we discussed in our previous lecture. So, intelligence basically is a single measurable characteristics that affects our mental ability. Okay. So, you just map the ability of the individual, the mental capability of the individual, okay, and you come across the IQ and you say that this very individual with this level of IQ, okay, is finally going to sort out things in the world in approximately to this very level. He or she will not have a problem, or depending on the level of IQ, you might say that fine, you are an underscorer, okay, and hence you might have certain intellectual deficiencies that others do not display. Compare this with aptitude. Now, aptitude basically is one of the many different characteristics which can be independent of each other. Okay. Little later we will come to examples. Okay. Say like two of us, me and you, can have same level of IQ, but if both of us go in the same area and try to professionally perform the same duty, perhaps one would do better than the other one. Take a concrete example, say my IQ and your IQ could be same, but you could be a very good pilot and I could be a very good doctor. Okay. Now, a pilot and a doctor, these two specific domains of knowledge requires very specific type of skills. Our intelligence level was same, but then I was predisposed to have a knack for something else and you had a knack for something else. And therefore, when it comes to testing of aptitude, and that we would do towards the end of this very lecture. Aptitude basically looks at the intra-individual characteristics, no? Whereas intelligence usually go for inter-individual type of mapping. So, my IQ is measured, your IQ is measured, some norm has been developed, and based on the norm I am told that see your IQ level is below 70, hence you fall in this category, or I am told that your IQ falls above 120, therefore you fall in the other category. Okay. So, there is a normative principle against which my individual score is being looked at, but that is not true in the case of aptitude. There are different areas for which my aptitude is examined. So, this is an intra-individual process. I am the same individual who takes up mechanical task, who takes up spatial task, who takes up language ability, who takes up clerical aptitude, various types of aptitudes, and then my aptitude score in one area is compared against my aptitude in the other area, and then I am told that I would perhaps be better at this and not at that. Okay. So, this is now a very clear distinction between intelligence and aptitude. Now, if you look at achievement tests, okay, because aptitude will finally help you succeed in that very area, achieve in that specific area, and then the tests of achievement basically they assess the learned skill or knowledge. So, how much have you actually achieved, how much have you scored? The best example would be your test quizzes, the exams that you give. Okay. So, finally, you achieve a set of knowledge is transmitted to you and you are supposed to learn it, acquire it, and depending on the type of test that you appear, finally, you get a score, and that is your achievement score. Compared to that, aptitude test is different. This basically assesses your capacity to acquire specific knowledge skills. Basically, two types of intelligence would be mapped under aptitude. One is what is called as the fluid intelligence and the other is what is called as the crystallized intelligence. So, fluid intelligence, it basically would look at the abstract thinking and reasoning, effective problem solving and strategic thinking. And these are the three key characteristics that will make you street smart. So, when you interact with people, when you engage yourself in different type of worldly activities, you would be extremely good. When it comes to crystallized intelligence, basically you use your past experience, how you have interacted in the past in a given situation and what was the outcome. Okay. So, you learn from that, and then what you do when you come across a new situation, based on your past experience, you try to map it, you try to apply it to the new situation, and this is called crystallized intelligence. Now, let us look at again constructs which are very close, okay, and which will finally shape the individual's achievement in life: aptitude, interest, personality and skill. Aptitude, of course, we are talking about it, which basically is a combined characteristics to develop proficiency in a specific area. And as I was telling you some time back, that there could be a possibility that two individuals who share the same IQ level, okay, might have different scores on their assessment of aptitude. Okay. So, two of us might be sharing same IQ, but then I am high at say spatial ability, you are good at mechanical ability, somebody else is good at linguistic ability, somebody else is good at clerical aptitude. Okay. So, that would be there. Second, how interested are you? Our interest level also matters a lot. So, interest basically is the feeling that makes you focus on a process. We began with looking at the video of PV Sindhu, and after PV Sindhu won her silver medal, the parents and the coach both talked a whole lot of things about the player and the type of dedication, the focus that she had on the game. One interesting thing that I picked up and it instantly has come to my mind is the fact that to avoid distraction and to ensure that PV Sindhu focuses on her game, Phulela Gopichand, her coach, he had even confiscated her mobile phone. She was allowed an access to the mobile phone only to talk to parents for a very brief period of time. The coach would even replace some of the items from her plate while she was having food, because he knew what type of food was needed for her fitness. He ensured that weight does not increase. He ensured that rest of the distractors does not perturb her. Okay. Now, you are interested in game and you are interested sacrificing several of other things. Okay. So, what happens, your interest level sustains your focused attention on the process, okay, which in turn again adds to your aptitude to excel in a given area, and finally you win a silver medal. Personality we would be talking about in the next week. Now, personality is basically the individual difference in the characteristic pattern of thinking, feeling and behavior of the individual. Okay. So, am I an individual who has a personality of a sports person, therefore I excel? Do I have an interest, therefore I excel? Okay. Do I have an aptitude, therefore I excel? Or is it that I basically have an ability needed to perform a specific task, what is called as a skill, and it is my skill which in turn makes me succeed in a given domain. So, this is an interesting thing. No, you would realize, and the reason I am talking about it here is that you realize that there is a combined effect of all of them. Okay. You are endowed with certain characteristics, you have certain personality, but your personality does not predispose you to become a badminton player. But then say for example, you have a very dominance of something called perseverance, you are extremely resilient. Now, these are your personality characteristics. Okay. And these are the characteristics which also helps you exploit your talent to the maximum possible extent to achieve the best in the field of sports. Okay. So, personality does play a role. Okay. Skill of course is the ability to perform a specific task. It would certainly develop with practice. Okay. And the ease of mastering the skill, okay, has to do with the aptitude that you have. So, if I have an aptitude, I will very easily master the skill. Okay. Minimal training, rigorous focus, okay, sustained focus, extremely resilient behavior, and I realize that I succeed in that given domain. Okay. So, this is an interesting effect where you realize that all these factors which are of extreme importance, although for convenience we study them separately, we do not combine personality, aptitude, intelligence, interest, skill in the same domain, but we are doing it right now to understand that the final achievement in life has a combined effect of all of them. Now, we come to aptitude testing. You would find different types of aptitude tests: mechanical, musical, clerical, art, scholastic, numerical, word fluency, and this is just few. There are a whole lot of tests, okay, which measures one or the other type of aptitude. What psychologists have done, they have developed several tests to measure these aptitudes. There are several tests which are developed abroad, there are several tests even developed within the country. I am just naming few of them. Differential aptitude test, popularly called as DAT, general aptitude test battery, Guilford's aptitude survey, comprehensive ability battery, mechanical aptitude test, Detroit clerical aptitude test, Seashore musical aptitude test, aptitude test for graphic art, scholastic aptitude test, Minnesota engineering analogical test, and one test where I have even mentioned that it was developed in India, scientific aptitude test. But again, as I told you that these are just a few to mention, there are a whole lot of aptitude tests, but I would specifically show you just one test, that is the differential aptitude test. Now, in differential aptitude test you have basically 6 different types of tests: verbal reasoning, numerical ability, abstract reasoning, mechanical reasoning, space relation and language usage. Now, in verbal reasoning you realize that there are a set of questions, you are given a time limit, and within that time limit you have to perform on those very tasks, those many number of questions have to be attempted. Verbal reasoning has 30 questions, you have 20 minutes time, and basically this tries to look at the thinking skill, cognitive ability, okay, in the shape of verbal analogies. Numerical ability, again a 25 item test, again time given is 20 minutes, and it looks at your ability to comprehend and deal with number related concepts. Okay. So, and how do you understand the numerical relationships? Right now I will show you this test as well. Abstract reasoning, 30 questions, 15 minutes time limit, and it looks at the ability via non-verbal method. Mechanical reasoning, 20-minute duration, 45 questions, and it looks at the ability to comprehend the elementary principles of mechanical tools and machinery movement. Space relation, 35 questions, time duration is 15 minutes, and this is the ability to envision a 3D object from a 2D image that is given to you. And finally, language usage, where language skills are taken into account, especially correct usage of capitalization, punctuation, identifying grammatical mistakes, and all this has to be done within a time frame of 12 minutes, and you have 30 questions at your disposal. So, I will now show you the different tests that are used in differential aptitude test battery. The first one, as you can see, is the language usage. Now, I will show you actually what happens. You have this very response sheet where you have part 1 which has to do with spelling, and then you have part 2 which has to do with sentences, and then as you can see there are radio buttons here where one is supposed to put the responses. Now, in language usage, in the spelling part there are actually 100 words given, few spellings are correct, few spellings are not. What one is supposed to do is to simply put a cross mark in the bubble there against all the spelling which I have an error. Similarly, in the language part, in the sentence part, in the sentence part there are 50 sentences, and these sentences are broken into pieces. So, as you can see here, the example given is, was we going to the office next week at all. Now, one of these segment has an error, or more than one segment would have an error, and then as an individual you are supposed to detect that error and put a cross mark in the bubble there. So, this is how the language ability is tested. Your aptitude in a given language would be now judged on the basis of how many correct responses you have given within the time frame. The second test is verbal reasoning, and once again you can see here, this is the answer sheet where one has to mark the responses. Now, in verbal reasoning 50 sentences are given, and once again you can see the items here. Okay, I will just read it aloud. The first one, it says dash is to Uttar Pradesh as UK is to, and then there are options given here. Okay. So, you will have to look at this and mark the answers in the separate answer sheet, okay. And this is how the verbal reasoning is mapped. Clerical speed and accuracy, once again you can see here, okay, clerical speed and accuracy, which has two parts, part 1 and then part 2. So, this is actually the answer sheet, and then this is the booklet. Now, here what happens, you have the test items and the answers are given here. So, part 1 you can see here, there are certain instructions that you have to follow, but then as you can make out that this is clerical speed and accuracy. So, what is measured is how accurate you are and how quickly you perform the task. Now, imagine something like if you have seen the test materials for banking services recruitment board. There you have all types of things, say for example, accuracy with single C, double C, or U and R replace. So, multiple spellings of the same word, okay, and only one spelling would be correct, and you have to identify it at the earliest possible. Okay. So, the skill is not only to be accurate, but also how speedily you can perform the task. We come to abstract reasoning now. Once again I will show you the answer sheet here, and then in abstract reasoning, okay, you have such type of problem figures, and then looking at the problem figures you have to visualize what would be the outcome, okay, at the next step, and then the answer figures are given. Now, from within the answer figures you have to find out the possible correct answer. Then comes numerical ability. Now, numerical ability, you can remember your mathematics test that you have appeared. You have certain addition tasks, multiplication tasks, subtraction tasks, okay, square roots, okay, certain type of how to find prices, how to find cube roots and issues like this. So, very small number of items, only 40 items, but then how quickly you do and how accurately you do, that is taken into account. Spatial relation, again you see the answer sheet for a spatial relation, all of them have the same format, no, it has bubbles. But then in the case of spatial relations, okay, you would be shown a pattern, okay, and then you will have to basically go for mental rotations to visualize, what would be the correct response here. You can see here item number 1 for instance. Now, it looks like a 2D image, and then in the for options that are given to you A, B, C, D, E, you have 3D sketches there, okay, where one side or more than one side is colored, it is blackened out. So, you will have to find out, okay, which of the 5 options actually would fit here. And then finally comes mechanical reasoning. Once again the response format is same, the same bubbles here. Now, in mechanical reasoning you will have a certain number of questions, okay. You would have the figures there and then the questions written there. For instance, you have a figure where a rolling weight is put at the plank, 2 people are holding it and it says which man has the heavier load, okay. If equal, then mark C. Now, you can see that the weight is slightly towards the individual who is on the B side, and then the question basically asks is that who would experience the heaviness of this load more compared to the other one, okay. Similarly, so say for example, you are shown a shaft, okay, and then you are asked which shaft will turn very slow, okay, and you have 3 options A, B and C. So, this is how you are given certain tasks, you are given defined time period and then you are asked to perform the task, and based on the score that you achieve, your aptitude is measured. Now, the beauty of DAT simply is that the score that you achieve on different tests of aptitude, clerical, mechanical, spatial, language, that is taken into account, okay. And this gives the overall comparative chart in terms of suggesting which are your areas of strength, okay. And if you are given training in that very area, if you focus on that very area, the chances are that you will excel. So, with this we conclude our discussion on aptitude.